thanks and praise for all that he provides to us on a daily basis. We sons and daughters of mankind, we are fallible before the Most High, and we are grateful because he does not let go of us. Even though at times we let go of his statutes and we stray from the righteous path he set for us at the inception of our being. So brothers and sisters, Lord God Father Almighty, he is everything. He owns each and everything. All the things that our hearts want, they are all granted by the Most High. Oh yes, we strategize, we contemplate, we ponder, and we lay strategy how to meet our egoistic needs, how to meet our wants, how to uphold our responsibility, how to pursue our needs. But the implementation of all our strategies, they are solely dependent on the grace of the Most High, because he knows what is to happen in the next jiffy of any given creature. So the Lord created each and everything, and the philosophy says that he who creates owns all the animating principles of that created subject. So brothers and sisters, don't you ever in your life rely on your own understanding amidst all circumstances, amidst all the things that are beyond your understanding, amidst all the obstacles, amidst all the uncertainties. Dear brothers and sisters, we keep our trust in the Most High because he will never fail us. His provisions are always there, particularly the breath of life, because that's what sustains our being. And if we are still breathing, meaning the purpose of which the Most High created us to execute, it is still ongoing. So we should not frown, fickle mortal as we are. At times we frown because of the things of our needs not to go the way we plan them. Dear brothers and sisters, on the African continent, it is Bob the Mechanic this very morning. I'm quite sure you all know what is happening in Uganda. Dear brothers and sisters, yesterday we received the nasty news of our leader being targeted by Mr. Museveni Yoweri Kaguta. His security forces went and brutalized His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, the legitimately elected President of the Republic of Uganda. Mr. Museveni ordered his security operative to shoot at His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. They aimed a weapon at him and they projected a canister of tear gas and it exploded on his leg. He sustained serious injuries, dear brothers and sisters, on the African continent, as you may observe or seen the circulating videos on the internet. So fellow Africans, African Union, the authority of African Union, the authority of East African Community, and the continent of Africa as a whole, cultural leaders, traditional leaders, or mentors on the African continent. For how long are we going to practice this self-hatred? I'm not talking in the sense of layman's understand, or in the layman's sense, no. I'm talking, my dissatisfaction goes straight to those who occupy the above-mentioned positions of leadership. The African Union, the East African Community. For how long are you going to pretend that You are not aware of what is happening. Why would Museveni, in his old age, still has the audacity to order his men to kill a young man, a man who was embraced by the people of Uganda indiscriminately? They embraced the vision he came up with. They voted him into power overwhelmingly, not on the muzzle of a gun, but based on his political ideology, ambitions, and the aspiration he wants to realize. To serve his country, to put a block on the well-being of the people of the Republic of Uganda. Yesterday, Mr. Museveni, before the international community, you attempted to assassinate His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. Mr. Museveni, that was an assassination attempt. You have been trying on various occasions to kill His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. You have tried on various occasions to poison His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, the legitimately elected President of the Republic of Uganda. Mr. Museveni, you are fully aware that the people of Uganda outvoted you peacefully. Peacefully, Mr. Museveni. There is no a single Ugandan who has ever thought of taking revenge upon you, upon your offspring, upon your people. Nobody. But Mr. Museveni, the things you are doing, Mr. Museveni, you are leaving us no other choice but to wage a war against your being, against your offspring, against anybody that is attached to your DNA. Mr. Museveni, you are leaving us no other choice. Mr. Museveni, it would be wise for you and do exactly as Pope Francis instructed you to do, to relinquish power and face justice. Mr. Museveni, relinquish power and face justice, as opposed to start creating chaotic situation, Mr. Museveni, which you may not be able to handle. Mr. Museveni, in all your tricks, in all your jungle methods, so very much you have tried to trick the change-loving Ugandans and lure them into a military confrontation. Mr. Museveni, every single day we step out to come and protest peacefully, as it is well enshrined in the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda, Article 29, which gives the people of Uganda the mandate to express their dissatisfaction or grievances towards their leaders. But whenever we try to assert that, Mr. Museveni, you respond with immeasurable brutality towards unarmed people. Mr. Museveni, we are not militaristic in our revolutionary. Mr. Museveni, the assassination attempts you are trying to do, Mr. Museveni, that is very, very bad. That is going to stain the picture of Africa. That what happened in the 40s, in the 50s, it is still happening even in now. And it is being executed by fellow black people, people who claim to be leaders. Museveni, yourself particularly, Museveni, all the things you did in the past, they have come to light because of one thing. You clinged on to power. Mr. Museveni, it is known to the entire continent of Africa and the whole world that you came out and stated that the problem of Africa, it is nothing but leaders who overstay in power. It is you who said those words. And the ancient philosophy teaches us that a man is as good as his words. A man who deviates from his words, that man is detrimental to the future of the continent and the future of the human race. Mr. Museveni, that is just a single statement that I've quoted from your many lies you have propagated ever since you captured the leadership of the Republic of Uganda. Mr. Museveni, it was from your being while standing at the entrance of the Parliament of the Republic of Uganda. You stated it before international media and local media that it is unthinkable for you to preside over the affairs of a country whereby a citizen gets shot at, a citizen get killed or disappear without a trace. And you are the one in charge of all armed forces. Museveni, you said it yourself. Mr. Museveni, you said it that if Lutwa continues to persecute revolutionists, people who were seeking for just leadership at that time, you were part of those groups who were fighting a guerrilla war. You said that if he does not stop killing the people, you will fight him. Mr. Museveni, we are at that juncture. Mr. Museveni, for the past 5 years, ever since His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu came and told us that the people of Uganda, it is in our power to change our destiny. It is in our power to change how we should be led. It is in our power to say that we mustn't be ruled over. We must not be ruled over. We must not accept a ruler. We must embrace a leader. Mr. Museveni, there is nothing Kyagulanyi is doing or his entire led administration. There is nothing they do under darkness. Any program they come up with, they bring it, introduce it before the general public. The general public put it into their mental weighing scales, and they see whether it can be perceived or it can be looked up just like that. Mr. Museveni, to all the things that the National Unity Platform, a political party, you are working so hard through your sycophants, implanted there in Mengo Cultural Institution, well knowing that Buganda, as a cultural institutions, plays a vital role in the decisions. Reason why all your sycophants are executing your missions within Buganda cultural institutions, it is that you have left with no option. Mr. Museveni, you are out of lies. You are out of lies. And Kyagulanyi Ssentamu had studied your tricks, your political ideology, and the way you project the future. And he knew that if the people of Uganda continue to take the mere words of politicians as the promising or as the beacon of hope, Ugandans were doomed. Thus, he told them that we must not trust leaders by their mere words, in other words, known as political rhetoric. But we should trust them by the deeds of their thoughts. Because a word is just a word, but a deed, it is tangible. It can be observed. when we started observing the deeds of those self-acclaimed respectable leaders, we could not trace anything mutually beneficial to the people of the Republic of Uganda. We cannot trace anything beneficial to the people of Uganda. That it has been done by these individuals. These are the individuals who are driving the narrative of Dictator Museveni. Fellow Africans, the people of Uganda, for the past 5 years, we have been decampaigning Mr. Yoweri Museveni. And we have been telling the international community not to give Mr. Museveni financial support, because he comes into those banks, IMF, World Bank, and other international lending bodies, telling them that he is borrowing money in the interest of the people of the Republic of Uganda. And we have told the international community that all the money Museveni gets from your institutions, he used them to procure more weapons to subjugate the people. The international community hid it, and they carried out their researches only to find out that our claims were just and right. So, they put a hold on giving Museveni money. So we are telling the East African community and the African continent that our subjugation, it is not to be attributed to a white man's presence into Uganda. Our subjugation must not be attributed to a white man's interest in Uganda. But our subjugation, it has been perpetuated by members of parliament, by members of the parliament, senior citizens of the Republic of Uganda. So now that the people of Africa are responding and the people of the world are responding in pressing sanctions on these individuals who drives the narrative of Dictator Museveni, these people have resorted to orchestrate the assassination of His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. Dear brothers and sisters on the African continent, we have individuals to whom we've been pointing out in this our struggle. Remember, whatever we do in the struggle, it is on the record. It stays on the public domain. From the beginning up to date, you have seen all the scenes, all the scenarios that have led to the assassination attempt. So the individuals I'm bringing out to your attention who are behind the fueling of the assassination of His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu by means of Museveni's son, Muhoozi Kainerugaba, because he controls all the armed forces under the command of his father. Now, Mathias Mpuuga, Charles Peter Mayiga, Medard Lubega Sseggona, Muwanga Kivumbi, Abedi Bwanika, Lubega Mukaaku, and there are some individuals. These are the people who are saying that their political career has been put into jeopardy because of the righteousness with regards to leadership being exhibited by His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. They are saying that they are no longer credible because they can no longer lie. They can no longer manipulate words to entice the minds of the people, whom in their mind they think that they are gullible. That is, they are gullible. That is the general public of the Republic of Uganda. This individual went and laid a strategy on Muhoozi Kainerugaba, that is Museveni's son, a brutal son of Dictator Museveni, whom he named the name known as Vengeance, or the Avenger, Muhoozi Kainerugaba. You can see that Museveni has got something of which we don't know, something of destroying Ugandans. So this individual, Charles Peter Mayiga, Mathias Mpuuga, Medard Lubega Sseggona, went and assured Muhoozi, or appealed on to Muhoozi to assassinate Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. After all that happened, and their assassination attempt failed, Mr. Mathias Mpuuga, according to the information we received from ASP Asime, that very night, he came straight online and said that Mr. Mathias Mpuuga, a former leader of alternative government business in parliament, in other words known as LOOP, leader of opposition business in government, a former leader of opposition government business in government, that is Mathias Mpuuga Nsamba, called Muhoozi Kainerugaba, and he was fuming, asking Muhoozi, why didn't they kill Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu? Why wasn't he killed on spot? Why wasn't he killed on spot? We have been informed on different occasions that Mathias Mpuuga vowed to sabotage and to eliminate His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, Joel Ssenyonyi, the current alternative business in parliament, Honorable Joel Ssenyonyi. Mr. Mathias Mpuuga reached to an extent of saying that they did him so very bad not to assassinate Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu because he might get a chance to go to the United Kingdom. Can you imagine, fellow Africans? These are the individuals who have embezzled taxpayers' money for the past 4 years. Mathias Mpuuga, a man who is behind all the assassination attempt. He is the man who is saying that Joel Ssenyonyi, Honorable Joel Ssenyonyi, must not be received in the parliament of the United Kingdom. You can see that these people, the wickedness within their being cannot be controlled anymore. Mathias Mpuuga, Charles Peter Mayiga, a man who is coming out now proposing the reform within the constitution that leads the land. Why would a man with a sane mind or normal intelligence go on to propose amendments should be made in the constitution? Under which governance? Under whose governance? Under whose governance? Under whose governance? A government which does not recognize the natives or the citizens' rights, the right to live. Mathias Mpuuga, Charles Peter Mayiga, is that the government you propose to make amendments in the constitution? Mr. Charles Peter Mayiga, fellow Africans, this is an individual, as we informed you recently, that this is an individual who was behind the attempted assassination of Ssaabasajja Kabaka, His Majesty Ronald Mwenda Mutebi II of Buganda. This is Charles Peter Mayiga, who is preparing to come to South Africa, purporting that he is representing the aspirations of Buganda Kingdom. We are informing the African Union, we are informing the South African government that these individuals, they do come in stable democracy, stable economy, and they feel welcomed. While in Uganda, they walk with 10 vehicles of armed people because they are so unpopular before the general public. So we appeal on our fellow Africans. These individuals we are profiling by names and their pictures, they should be denied entrance in democracies such as South Africa, in democracies on the continent of Africa such as South Africa. Matthias Mpuuga, Charles Peter Mayiga, a man who claimed to be the Katikiro of Buganda. This is the man who was behind the exiling and the assassination attempt on Ssaabasajja Kabaka, saying that he was mentally disturbed. The authority of Namibia listened to the voice of the people of Uganda globally. As we continued, we picketed and protested on their foreign missions worldwide, and they listened only to find out that our claim, they were just and they were real. That our king, the symbol of our identity, had been hijacked, exiled with the mission of assassinating him. Now this is Charles Peter Mayiga coming out saying that anybody in a presidential contending or presidential election, anybody who comes second should be representing in the parliament. Which parliament? Which parliament, Charles Peter Mayiga, are you proposing? A parliament whose affairs are being presided over a corrupted woman? A woman who is corrupt in mind? Is that the parliament you are suggesting? Mr. Charles Peter Mayiga, the entire country is protesting for her resignation, and now you're proposing amendments. Charles Peter Mayiga, you, a man who is rejecting the mixing of politics into cultural leadership. You are now proposing some political, amendments. What are you insinuating? Mr. Charles Peter Mayiga, what we are saying is this. It is you, Charles Peter Mayiga, who is influencing Matthias Mpuuga. And you have determined to use Museveni's crazy son because he does not hesitate to pull a trigger. We all witnessed that yesterday. The international community witnessed that yesterday. You tried to assassinate His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. Matthias Mpuuga Nsamba, you stated it, asking Museveni or telling Museveni that you have tried to poison His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. In fact, more than 3 times you said that you have executed the mission of poisoning him, but you are all perplexed. Why doesn't he die? It's you, Matthias Mpuuga, who said that. The next time Museveni called you and said why things are not moving, why is it Kyagulanyi is succeeding every step he takes, you told Museveni in affirmative that the man, it is so unpredictable. You attested that to Mr. Museveni. Matthias Mpuuga, we trusted you. You are as young as we are. Why is it then you have decided to side with a murderer? Matthias Mpuuga, you have become a murderer. You have become a murderer, a spiritual murderer. Because you propose murderous deeds and then Muhoozi execute those. Matthias Mpuuga, there is no crime will ever go unpunishment, and whatever you do in darkness, it shall be revealed in the broad daylight. Matthias Mpuuga, the Creator, the one who grants us the breath of life, we serve Him by means of mind. Before you even make a call to Muhoozi Kainerugaba, the Lord have seen your thoughts. Mathias Mpuuga, the Lord is fully aware of your mission. The little is all we know. Only when you speak, that's what we know. But the Lord knows all your contemplations towards the struggle, towards the assassination of His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. Mathias Mpuuga, my brother, the world is so connected. Do you think you are going to overpower us? No. We are going to take Museveni away out of power. Do you think you're going to be in exile? The diaspora, it is not the same as you used to know. The diaspora is connected. Mathias Mpuuga, Interpol will come for you. On the demand of the people of Uganda, because of your involvement into the silent genocide that is ongoing in Uganda. Mathias Mpuuga, you are laying murderous strategies on the table of SEMI, that is Chieftains of Military Intelligence, headed by Damulira Christopher. You lay murderous strategies on the table of Internal Security Organization, that is ESO, headed by James Birungi. Mathias Mpuuga, you lay murderous strategies on the table of Dictator Museveni. Mathias Mpuuga, everything that you do, it is on the public domain. It is known to all Africans. In which country are you going to enjoy all the money you have stolen from the people of the Republic of Uganda? Mathias Mpuuga, there is no country in which you will enjoy. There is no country in which you will enjoy even the greediness, the promptings of your heart. The promptings of your heart, they are just lying you. Mathias Mpuuga, all that you are striving for under the sun, on the surface of the earth, you are striving, you are envisioning the utopia for your children to enjoy without suffering. But I doubt that they will ever enjoy that, because they are all well profiled. Because all their father rich, it is not a justly earned one. No, it is being earned treacherously. Mathias Mpuuga, you are stealing taxpayers' money, my brother. Stealing money wouldn't be the problem. Why have you reached an extent of trying to assassinate Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu using Muhoozi? Using Muhoozi? Really, Mathias Mpuuga? Where does that leave your legacy? Mathias Mpuuga, we had kept quiet, and you called yourself all, titles. You had awarded yourself money. All we wanted you is to leave the ideology of National Unity Platform, to resign. But when you refused to resign, we kept on doing our business, not knowing that you are being threatened even by our silence. Mr. Mathias Mpuuga, he who the Lord appoints, protection, guidance, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding are bestowed on that individual. He or she, Mr. Mathias Mpuuga, the ultimate protection belongs to God Almighty. Mr. Mathias Mpuuga, you can even use an anti-aircraft machine to kill somebody, and that person, if the God does not say that, okay, let me take my spirit out of this flesh, that person will never be even damaged. Mathias Mpuuga, I'm quite sure you old enough to understand that the spirit is immortal, the soul is immortal, and the mind, it is immortal. So what are you trying to kill of Kyagulanyi Ssentamu? You are only afraid of his flesh. Aren't you afraid of his spirit? The spirit which have surpassed your understanding in the flesh. Do you think you can surpass its grace in the spiritual world? Because we are all going there. The timing is on the only difference. Mr. Mpuuga, do you think you have any substance on which you can stand and make the people of Uganda listen to you? Because Museveni have assured you that you are the one coming in the government of his son. You will be the prime minister. Charles Peter Mayiga, you're going to be the vice president. That is why you are proposing the amendments. You are preparing yourself, having failed to keep the cultural norms of Buganda, having grabbed all people's lands, having killed the orphans, Charles Peter Mayiga, having killed all the widows, people being chased off their ancestral land. Under the guise of Nema, you are quiet. The people of Buganda are living on Mairo land, but they are being chased off their land. When the agreements of their land titles are issued by Buganda Land Board, Buganda Land Board is quiet. It is because of your influence, Mr. Charles Peter Mayiga. But whatever you do, it is in the broad daylight. There is nothing you can conceal. The assassination of Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu won't extinguish the burning desire for just leadership. After all, he knew at the inception of the struggle, and he said that by the time Museveni kills me, I want 1 million Bobby Wines already on the scene. We are more than 1 million, Mr. Mpuuga. And our mindset, remember, are different to that of our leader. The bubbling fire within us, it has been soused up, guided by his just leadership. That is the National Unity Platform. Our mindset towards confronting you after yesterday's incident have changed drastically. We are no longer considering peaceful means to prevail. We have been bounded and guided by his words of comforting hope, the words of non-violence, the words of setting a precedent, of changing leadership without a military confrontation. Till I said to you, Mpuuga, Charles Peter Mayiga, Medad Lubega Segona, I don't need to mention Museveni, that is our enemy. But since he lost credibility and he entrusted all his wickedness within the minds of Mpuuga, Charles Peter Mayiga, Medad Lubega Segona, Lubega Mukaku, Mwanga Chivumbi, all of you DP block people, you are the one who have become the driver of Museveni's narrative. But to your detriment, because it is too late. The people of Uganda know exactly our needful. That is just leadership. The people of Uganda, 2 days ago, 1 day ago, young women in Uganda took to the street. They took to the street in asserting their voices as it is granted to them by the Constitution. These are young women who said that there is nothing we can conceal in our fancy clothes anymore. Museveni have done all the things unimaginable to a sane mind. On the 23rd August, the March to Parliament protest was on. These young men and women, they came dressed respectively. They came dressed respectively with their barricades well hoisted, and the writings are well inscripted, saying that Anita Among must resign. What Museveni did, what he deemed to be suitable in response, it is to capture all these people violently, incarcerate them in his dungeons, and then sodomize them, rape the girls, sodomize the girls, rape the men, sodomize the men. That is what Museveni did. I'm not maligning, it is on the public domain. So, these women said that they did all this to us when we came well clothed. Now, let us go on the street and demand Anita Among to resign, and to stop corruption, let us go naked. When they came naked, they tried to manipulate cultural institutions that these young men are becoming disgraceful, failing to condemn the state that is perpetuating the situation which is causing this lady to come demonstrating naked. The situation which led to Museveni's security men to sodomize young men and women. Matthias Mpuuga, you are always dressed in suit and tie. You are always dressed in suit and tie, looking so elegant and diplomatically in appearance, and diplomatic in appearance. But your mind, it is so crooked. Your mind, it is so perverted to the extent that you've been trying so very much to break the spirit of His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. And you, Matthias Mpuuga and Charles Peter Mayiga and Medard Lubega Segona, you went on to propose that His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu's wife, Babi Itungo Kyagulanyi, should be abducted, raped, and molested, and take all the dignity away from him just to hurt Kyagulanyi Ssentamu psychologically. Matthias Mpuuga, this is you and Charles Peter Mayiga. Charles Peter Mayiga. Charles Peter Mayiga. Charles Peter Mayiga. Indeed, many holy scriptures have come to pass that when the filthy sit in holy places, tribulation, suffering, and infirmity will increase. We've seen that. When you look at Charles Peter Mayiga, the way he giggles tauntingly while speaking in the general public, those are the characteristics we grew up, knowing that it indicates a person who is, unethically was reared, or people with all sorts of bad mannerism. When you see people who are bragging of being well educated, bragging over their academic prowess and all that, that is an indication of a person who was poorly reared, a person who has got indiscipline within them. So they try to conceal that wickedness and indisciplinedness in suits and ties, to pretend they are presentable and they have substance, I guess. But when they open their mouths to speak and you compare their deeds, you can see these are perverted individuals who are society misfits. So we continue to tell you, Matthias Mpuuga, Charles Peter Mayiga, you are behind the failed assassination plot of His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. Now, Matthias Mpuuga, according to ASP Asime, you further proposed to Muhoozi Kainerugaba that this man who shot the projectile at His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu should be airlifted immediately yesterday night to be taken via Rwanda. You understand? Mr. Matthias Mpuuga, it is you behind all of this. Matthias Mpuuga, the people of South Africa, the country that provides refugeeship for us, there are individuals who come within this very beautiful country and they purport to be representing the interests of the Republic of Uganda. A man known as Charles Peter Mayiga, a man who is responsible for the assassination plot, a failed one as well, of His Majesty Ronald Muwenda Mutebi II of Buganda. This is the same man who is behind the failed another assassination plot of His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, the legitimately elected President of the Republic of Uganda. Because Museveni promised them that he is going to leave them in power. Charles Peter Mayiga will be the Vice President. Matthias Mpuuga will be the Prime Minister in Muhoozi Kainerugaba's government. They think, what a delusioned people. What a delusioned people. You are all delusioned. Matthias Mpuuga, Muhoozi Kainerugaba cannot be our president because the Constitution says that a president must be a child of that nation by birth. That is a citizen. By birth. You were born in Uganda. You qualify to be the president of Uganda. It doesn't matter your origin of nationality, but if you are born in Uganda, you qualify to be a president of the Republic of Uganda. Museveni's son was not born in Uganda. You understand? There is no way you are going to continue to trample on our constitution because now we know what it takes. It is just a revolution. A revolution. You are trying to kill a revolutionary, but you won't kill the revolution. Matthias Mpuuga, you are trying to kill His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, but he expects all those and more. He expects all those and more. We all expect to incur your ill will, but we shall not be deterred. We shall not be deterred by your ill will. After all, you cannot control the breath of life. Mr. Matthias Mpuuga, we speak with these words. We speak these words telling you the truth that wickedness won't make you prevail. Wickedness won't make you prevail. Mr. Matthias Mpuuga, Mr. Matthias Mpuuga, you cannot make people fear as opposed to love you. No. Don't you ever conceive in your mind, Matthias Mpuuga, that it is good to be feared than to be loved. Even if I'm not loved, but I should not enforce anybody to fear me. No. No. You cannot scare anybody. People are no longer fearful. Mathias Mpuuga, you are not going to intimidate people. Mr. Museveni, stop all your plots. Mr. Museveni, last night you issued a creed and ordered all military doctors from Mbuya Hospital, that is a military hospital, and Bombo Barracks military hospital, that they should come at Nsambia Hospital to take over the entire hospital where His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu is being hospitalized. You want to inject poison into his body. Mr. Museveni, you have sent many agents to poison His Excellency Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, but all along we've been telling you that that one, he is a heavenly sent. Mr. Museveni, the Bible reminds us that those who put their trust in God, they will drink poison, but they will never die. They will drink poison, they will never die. They will trap them, but they will never fall into those traps. They will try all sorts of manner, all sorts of bad things. Those people will always be protected by the grace of the Most High. That very grace, that very God who appointed them to execute his mission. Dear brothers and sisters, nobody can change God's program. There is no an individual, a mortal man can change God's programs. Mr. Mathias Mpuuga, there is nothing you of Uganda are still telling you that stop wickedness, refrain from wickedness, leave the people of Uganda alone. Mr. Museveni, there is nothing that is going to save you. The people of Africa, for far too long, we have been campaigning, Mr. Museveni, not to procure any loans from international bodies. Now, Mr. Museveni, we all witnessed that he was in Kenya. Okay? When Mr. Museveni went to Kenya, he went to Kenya and convinced Mr. Ruto, the president of Kenya, that China, the Bank of the People, the People's Republic of China, cannot give Museveni money anymore. So now, he is using Mr. Ruto to secure some loans from China for him, based on a quid pro quo. A quid pro quo, it is a situation whereby, do this for me, I will give you this in return. Now, a quid pro quo, which was promised to Mr. Ruto, it is to be the sole controller and the consumer, and not the consumer, the agent of all coffee in Uganda. That is what Mr. Ruto is being promised to get in return once he get money from Museveni, to buy more guns, to pay more psychophants, to facilitate the war in the Democratic Republic of Congo, and to facilitate the upper region silent genocide, to facilitate his training of El Shabaab. Dear brothers and sisters, Mr. Museveni is so wicked to the core. Mr. Museveni, we know you are murderers. We know you kill each and everybody. And we are not exceptional. And we are not immune to your wickedness. But we tell you that every manifestation is a retardation of motion. Meaning that this is a journey. So we are fully aware that you can reach to anybody who speaks against your dictatorship. But we are not afraid, because man does not die. Only it is the flesh that perishes at death. But that which constitutes a man, that is the spirit, the soul, and the mind, they are immortal. So Mr. Museveni and Mr. Ruto, you are fighting a proxy war. They have been informing us, Mr. Ruto, you own Starbex Oil Company. And that company have got branches in Uganda. When the trucks come to supply oil, they go back with ammunition. You understand? To Kenya. To kill the people of Kenya. To brutalize more the people of Kenya. Mr. Ruto. Mr. Ruto. Mr. Ruto. Mr. Ruto. You are siding with a man who has been killing East Africans for the past 40 years. You have been in presidence or in leadership of Kenya for the past 10 years. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not quite sure. But you are conniving with Museveni. You are standing as Museveni's surety in two international lending bodies. Museveni to get more money to kill more Ugandans. Mr. Ruto, we're not going to spare any word. We know all of you how murderous you are. But we are not going to be intimidated. After all, you stripped us of each and everything that dignifies a mind. That is, we are no longer citizens of Uganda. After 10 years, you have the right either to renew my citizenship as a Ugandan or not. You understand? So, Mr. Ruto, leave Museveni. Leave Museveni. Leave Museveni. The people of China, please, do not give Mr. Ruto cent. Do not give Mr. Ruto money. Mr. Ruto, he has come to borrow money to facilitate Museveni's murderous regime. The people of the world, for how long? As I'm concluding, dear brothers and sisters, allow me to read a document for you. And before I read that document, allow me again to recite the names of the missing Ugandans who were abducted 5 years ago at the beginning of our campaign of toppling dictator Yoweri Museveni's regime. Victims of the regime-driven abductions. Kibalama Johnny Bosco was abducted and is still missing. Cesar's Isma was abducted and still missing. Luwemba Mustaf was abducted and still missing. Mubiru Hassan was abducted and still missing. Lukwago Martin was abducted and still missing. Zumula Dennis was abducted and still missing. Samudu Michael was abducted and still missing. Kilia Peter was abducted and still missing. Nalumoso Vincent was abducted and still missing. Wangolo Shafik was abducted and still missing. Musisi Mbowa was abducted and still missing. Sempija Yuda was abducted and still missing. Damulira John was abducted and still missing. Kanata Muhammad was abducted and still missing. Mbabazi Moses was abducted and still missing. Baguma Joseph was abducted and still missing. These 18 missing persons, dear brothers and sisters, 5 years ago, the courts of justice issued a document known as habeas corpus. That document commands the executive or the government to present the said individuals in the courts of law, whether dead or alive. You understand? All of these people I've just read to you, they have been missing for the past 5 years. These are people who were abducted because they were playing an instrumental role in sensitizing the masses to vote in the favor of a new leadership. So Museveni's operative whisked them away. We have been receiving information that Museveni chops human bodies and feed his alligators and crocodile. You understand, brothers and sisters? We are still demanding the unconditional release of all political prisoners. All of these are political prisoners. We are demanding the unconditional release of Akilewo Kivumbi, His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, Security Guard. We are demanding the unconditional release of all political prisoners being tried in military court when they are civilian. Fellow Africans, for how long? Since when a civilian is being tried in a military court? Mr. Museveni, everything you do is on the public domain. In conclusion, dear brothers and sisters, fellow Ugandans, allow me to reread a message or a document known as Man's Inner Guide. I start. The era of emancipation from the thraldom of woeful worship is dawning. Man is no longer content with the man-made creed. His heart cries out for freedom. He feels something stirring within his being, something akin to what he has been taught to look upon as the faraway ruler of righteousness. Indeed, a supreme ruler of earth and sky, whose nature is divine, though at times vindictive, violently provoked, and furiously inclined. By the application of common sense, man has learned to discriminate between false teaching and true knowledge. He is no longer held in bondage by the voice of fear. He is no longer held in bondage by the voice of fear. He feels surer of himself on matters of deeper importance for the welfare of his complex being. Even though his thought clash with the antiquated beliefs of dictators and dictators' pastors, his better judgment tells him not to worry about what these self-styled rulers of men declare they will do to him if he dares to scorn their decalogues of rotting rules of conduct and testaments of over-inflated tyrannical obedience under the guise of diplomacy. These welcoming signs of individual awakening point out to a further realization on man's part that what others have done in the past and are doing in the present, he can also do. If the great laws of impartial justice still operates within the mathematical precisions for beasts and men, truly there is nothing impossible of achievement, and no power is too sacred to be totally ignored for fear of incurring the ill will of the touch-me-not potentate. Thus it is that man reasons and speculates on possibilities and hidden potencies of his heretofore neglected better nature. He has chosen to burn midnight oil for the express purpose, for finding out for himself whether the promptings of the heart are of more value in the actual living of a life of peace than the unreasonable requests of veritable host of greed and dominant impostor. As a direct result of his naval attitude of mind towards things that were usually taken as a matter of course, because of an existing belief that legal mentor in suit and ties were the only administrators of societal values and godly justice, man has risen above the level of vicarious service. Man has risen above the level of vicarious service, and by crawling out of his physical dependence with his eyes open up to the light of the truth that is streaming through his soul, he has reached the plane of higher understanding. He has reached the plane of higher understanding and resolve to do his own thinking, come what may. This resolution has transformed the mortal man of flesh and bones into a creature of renascent reality. It has made him the Son of God in the making. It has given him the strength to overcome the evil in his own nature and align himself with constructive forces for the greatest good for the downtrodden and deceived mankind. The words of Pope ring true in his ear because they voice a statement of a high caliber and comforting hope. Man, know then thyself, and presume not God to scorn. The proper study of mankind is mind. The proper study of mankind is man. Man is literally letting the dead past bury its dead. He has given up worrying about the final outcomes of his life. His better nature tells him all is well with the world, and the world is watching and waiting for the Son of God that has come to life within him. Realizing this for the very first time in his life, the Son of God within man has virtually and truly become a tangible asset to man. And through man, he is gradually unfolding the secrets of ages past, placing as if we are the keys of mystery, as the keys of mystery of his being, as the keys of mystery being within his already reach, and impelling him to search the depth of his own nature for the priceless heritage of enduring riches. The peculiar inner urge that men felt now and then has become a vivid sense of conscious awareness, and the thing called consciousness is no longer a bugaboo of terror, but it is instead of this a voice of lovable and delightful helpfulness, a great friend in the hour of need, and a constant companion, possessing prestige and power, plus the courage to do things in accordance with those standards of conduct which are the visible symbols of an all-knowing inner guide. Thus, vagary, vacuity, and vacillation of mind have been superseded by the Holy Trinity of intuitive conviction, divine inspiration, and steadiness of aim in the quest of wisdom/freedom. Higher sounding titles are no longer necessary to place man in touch with the reality of his being. Education is to be desired and striven for with the determination of purpose and singleness of aim. But it does not really matter whether man has matriculated from the ranks of nobility or from the files of earthly limitations. If his heart is pure and his mind free from biasness, he will be received with open arms by teachers of mankind and be dealt with impartial goodwill and loving interest in whatsoever channel he may choose to sail. No one will be able to thwart his plan. No one will succeed in winning him away from his ideals. Likewise, having his nature attuned to unselfish love, he will render a credit account of himself on his inner guide calls him to other labors. With his mind centered on the upliftment of the race and his thoughts trained to respond to the call of the directive's will within him, he will soon soar to the heights beyond the commonplaces, and casting a loving glance over the panorama that greets his newborn sight, he will gladly forget his passion for place and pledge the best part of his nature to the greatest cause of truth. To such one, pleasure is hidden in service, and happiness is extracted from the perplexing and puzzling duties of the day. Being free to function on many planes of human needs with conscious arouse, and the will set for any trial or care, this resurrected being strikes out in the boldest fashion to the hilltops of superior achievements and synthesized virtue. He knows the cost of sorrow because he has experienced it. He knows the price of selfishness because he himself was formerly selfish. Now that he understands the purpose of the plan that his inner guide laid in the beginning, he is ready to bear every trial and share every sort of joy found by the wayside of life. Having passed through the refining fire of his personal experience and burned off all the rugged edges of his selfish nature on his own free will and accord, he is now glad He is now glad to tell the world something about man's true relationship of his inner guide and the invisible intelligence that causes him to live and move and have his being on earth. The sublime sentinel guarding the fort of man's heart is none other than his inner guide. This is the meaning of reality man's self stands for. The true God in his man's being is the divine voice rooted in the core of his nature. This living and loving reality in man is in man to inspire him and assist him whenever there is need. Man can, if he so chooses, manifest the presence of his inner guide, this God within him, to the world about him. He has it within his power to grow more and more like him, not only to reflect the divine image likeness of his indwelling master, but he too can become a living counterpart of all that his inner guide stands for. That is love, light, divinity, wisdom, understanding, truth, youth, honor, courage, freedom, and countless and numberless other characteristics that voices the immanence of God in man's being. What the God in man is, man can become. What man's inner guide stands for, man can translate into action while yet in the body of flesh. He does this by the resolute firmness of mind, and by growing like his inner guide, the true God of his soul. He conquers every foe, overcomes every obstacle in his path, and meets every lion on the way face to face with the coolness that bespeaks superiority of knowledge. Superiority of knowledge and supremacy of intuitive conviction. Even death has no terror for him. He knows that death is but a talisman of a new and better beginning, with new friends and loving companion in reception attitude of mind and welcoming preparation of soul. Through his schooling, he has learned to smile. Through his schooling, he has learned to smile upon the great reaper when the hour of his emancipation from physical embodiment strikes. His training has enabled him to raise his action to the level of conscious unification with his individual guide, the Christ power within his being. It is man's inner guide that cries out for freedom. It is man's inner guide that cries out for freedom. Thus, this is the voice that speaks in the silence of man's soul, with the courage that is born of conviction. This is the present that says. Sorry, brothers and sisters. It is man's inner guide that cries out for freedom. This is the voice that speaks in the silence of man's soul, with the courage that is born of conviction. This is the present that says, I resolved, no despot, no autocrat, no despot shall coerce my liberty. No tyranny, no dominant ruler shall claim my freedom. No vile wielder of bloody weapon shall break my godlike will. I repeat, no autocrat, no despot shall coerce my liberty. No tyranny, no dominant ruler shall claim my freedom. No vile wielder of bloody weapon shall break my godlike will. These gifts are mine to use with judgment and discretion for the greatest good of impoverished and enslaved humanity. Again, and with like force, the real self sings its songs of freedom on the altar of independence. Realizing that all power is his to use, he summoned every activity. He summoned every atom of activity to the fore, and with the newborn eloquence registers its pledge of honor on the sensitive plate of universal permanence. His first and foremost promise is, I will serve and do my best. Oh, His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, I will serve and do my best. And then the voice of invincible definiteness. And then the voice of invincible definiteness. Give form to the inner guide's code of confidence. Thus, opportunity, or port of unity, port of unity, march to the parliament. It must be the port of unity, brothers and sisters. We are marching to parliament. Dear brothers and sisters, we are marching to the parliament. Port of unity, 9th October, port of unity. It is the unifying moment. 9th October, it is the converging moment. The people of Uganda, opportunity, or port of unity. Opportunity, or port of unity. I recognize the force that power of the will now dare capsizes, and that the central eye of mind and brain fear neither fate, nor chance, nor fire, nor rain, but works and waits secure upon its throne, with its steadfast calm stabs the worthless drone, that leans and limbs in straw and walks on sand, the blindest bully of this mighty land, of wealth and opportunity glow, a land rich by things that men adore, filled from bottom to brim with the golden grain that man produces with the easy inner brain, when once awakened by the might and power of soul confined in the mind's creative tower, wherein dwells the spirit that controls and gives direction to all living soul. Oh, port of unity, I'll solve the deeper problems that my eyes convolve, and in boldest attempts to twist my brain into a shapeless mass of thoughts that drain my heart of love and cause my will to swerve from the chosen path that mankind would serve, to bring to naught my one selected goal, and cause myself to drift on edge shore, until the spark of life is no more, to earn its passage to the farther share, where neither time nor tide controls the day, nor mantle shams the hands of justice stay, a kingdom that is ruled by right and light, instead of carnal lust that fight to fright. In selfish hope, hidden a weazened brain, that righteous compliment that weak mind contains. Oh, port of unity, I now resolve to live my life so that I may absolve my inner self from the thought that I have been lamed, and never again refill my heart with shame, the shame that is heaped through ignorance of truth upon the plastic brow of carefree youth, as well as on the heads of sinners old, who paid no heed to what their eye had told. With the pangs of bitter pain and stress of sin, and through their warnings of kith and kin, seeking to enlighten a shiftless mind by pointing out the path that men must find, in the central midst of a dried up brain, whose jewel in the heat strife has lain, until its priceless grandeur has been lost, and the petty man has had to pay the cost. Opportunity, port of unity, you and I are one. Let us live and love and serve until our work is done. Our work is done, that is, when Museveni is taken out of power. Let us live and love until our work is done. The love for our country, the love that brings us into unity on 9th October to reclaim what we call independence. Man's inner guide said, the real self sings its songs of freedom after independence. When the struggle is over, we shall wear the victor's crown. We shall wear the victor's crown. We shall wear the victor's crown. When the struggle is over, we shall wear the victor's crown in the new Uganda. From the above, it is evident that man must become more than man, before it is possible for him to get in tune with his inner guide or real self or God. His first cue is to understand that man is not real until he finds out what that something that makes him a man. That in order to manifest the God presence, he must possess the power to dare assert his individuality, meaning of course his inner conviction. He must know whereof he speaks. He must possess the courage to do the things he knows he ought to do at all times and places, under all circumstances and conditions. Moreover, he must possess the disposition to keep silent in order to protect the interest of humanity and add moral force in the generation of the age in which he lives. He must possess the disposition for keeping silence in order to protect the interests of humanity. Dear brothers and sisters, don't get twisted. What man's inner guide tells us here, to keep silent. Not to keep silent when you see bad things are being orchestrated and they are being aimed at an individual who is innocent. That is not what man's inner guide is referring to here. This silence, it needs a proper understanding and a proper program for it. But right now, man's inner guide impels us to know whereof we speak. This is the right time to speak. Man must learn that manifestation is but a retardation of motion. This definition lifts the veil from the mystery of creation by interpreting for man's part the essential meaning of the biblical statement, before Abraham was, I was. I repeat, man must learn that manifestation is a retardation of motion. This definition lifts the veil by interpreting on man's part the essential meaning of the biblical statement, before Abraham was, I was. Let him who seeketh, let him not who seeketh cease from his search until he finds. Verily then, on the ideal conception is, verily then, an ideal conception is but an arrested reality. Substance is imminent matter. Substance is imminent in matter, though its vibratory rate of motion is walled in and lies latent until the outer gets in tune with the inner and establish units of nature. At the point of balance on harmonic relations, nullifies the resistance exerted over the indwelling reality and allows the substance to leap forth to freedom. Therefore, that which has been manifested may be easily and readily reproduced, but that which is ideal defies the brain and skill of him who possesses no key to its invisible potentiality. The logical deduction, it is self-evident. That is His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. I repeat this passage here. Therefore, that which has been manifested may be easily and readily reproduced, but that which is ideal defies the brain and skill of him who has no key or access to its invisible potentiality. The logical deduction is self-evident. The example, that is the logical deduction, is to take from the example as you deduct from the law and you render judgment. So the self-deduction in our inspirational move is Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. He is the example the living example from which we can draw aspiration or inspiration, and we act along. Man's inner guide say, therefore, that which has been manifested may be easily and readily reproduced. When Kyagulanyi Ssentamu came out and said that I'm starting a political party, that was an ideal being revealed. It is manifested and readily to be reproduced. Matthias Mpuuga wanted to reproduce that which Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. You understand? But that which is ideal defies the brain and skill of him who possesses no key to its invisible potentiality. What is that invisible potentiality? The ideal of a Uganda which is governed justly. Matthias Mpuuga has no access to that. That is what defies his brain. That is why he told Mr. Museveni that the young man is unpredictable, because he has no access to the ideals that led Kyagulanyi Ssentamu into the political contestation. That's why we say that the logical deduction is Kyagulanyi Ssentamu right there. You understand? The logical deduction is Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. That which is ideal defies the brain and skill of him who possesses no key to its invisible potentiality. You understand? That potential, the potential we have, the potential we have, the potential we have in toppling dictatorial Museveni cannot be sourced, cannot be drilled by any philosophical tenet, whether it is being uttered by a charisman or a ghetto hustler. There is no philosophy can pacify our burning desire to attain just leadership. Back to the document, and to anyone possessed of normal intelligence will agree that it is not hard to do something when another has pointed out the way. But the worth of a man lies in his ability to initiate that which is latent in the secrets of his being, in the universe, about, around, under, over him, and leave to other less gifted mortals a mockery of imitation and the shallow consolation derived from a covetous sense of profiting through the initiative power of Creator's superior brain. Man is inner guide. Man is inner guide. And to anyone possessed of normal intelligence will agree that it is not hard to do something when another has pointed out the way. That is the essential, that was the essence. In the message he said that. In the message he said that. That is the essence of Kyagulanyi Ssentamu's presence, because to anyone possessed of normal intelligence will agree that it is not hard to do something when another has pointed out the way. Kyagulanyi Ssentamu knew exactly that we will follow suit as soon as we see what he is willing to do. We have normal intelligence. There is no way we can be like that Kyagulanyi Ssentamu is conniving with the pervertism. There is no way we can be like that Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, he is doing this in the interest of foreign people. There is no way we can be like that, because he has pointed out the way, and the way is acceptable. It is visible. It is not invisible. That which has been manifested may be easily and readily reproduced. We are reproducing Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. This is the proliferation of the struggle, the emerging of new entrants who are willing to take on the mantle, even violently. Mr. Museveni, what you are trying to assassinate Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, you are calling different mad heads, different mental vibratory rate, different way of perceiving matters of leadership, different way of approaching your dictatorship. By you tampering with Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, you inviting different people with different mechanism. Mr. Museveni, Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, he has been arguing us that we can do it non-violently. But Mr. Museveni, your attempt of killing His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu invite us who are willing to take on you militarily and hesitantly. Mr. Museveni, that should be born in your mind and all your sycophants. We are telling you that, Mr. Museveni, Uganda hasn't turned into chaotic because of that just leader, His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, who came up with a red beret, derived from EFF, and EFF got it from Sankara. It is a revolutionary symbol, a beret. Mr. Museveni, when you see a green beret coming into the picture, that means we are determined to battle on you head on. Mr. Museveni, take your hands off Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. We want him outside to be checked. Here in South Africa, there are medical well equipped in all the hospitals. The people of South Africa, the reason why we are shouting, in South Africa, all the hospitals attend on people indiscriminately, whether you documented or not, okay? Indiscriminately, because you pay VAT. You pay VAT. This is the country. Those whom Museveni use, those sycophants of Museveni's men who reside in South Africa, they are organizing to bring Charles Peter Maiga, Mr. Charles Peter Maiga, and all of you organizers, we are going to confront you head on. There is no way, Charles Peter Maiga, you can come here and feel comfortable and sit in the SC of South Africa, while in Uganda you're persecuting the grandchildren of Buganda. All of you organizers of the so-called Cape Town Buganda meeting, we are coming head on. We are coming head on. Not coming. We are running petition, Mpuuga, Charles Peter Maiga, to be denied entrance in South Africa. That is the campaign we have embarked on. You understand? Charles Peter Maiga, Mpuuga, you are trying to kill Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, Joel Senyonyi, and all just leaders because the United Kingdom pressed sanctions on you because of your embezzling taxpayers' money, you investing in Europe. How pathetic are you, black people? How pathetic are you people in high positions of leadership, particularly Ugandans? All I'm speaking, it is in the context of Uganda, because that is the country I'm fully aware, and I know the unfoldment of its political events. Brothers and sisters, Obama in his book, The Promised Land, he cited that the uncertainties of political event and the necessity for resilience. My brothers and sisters, whether Museveni murders His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu or not, the seed he sowed, it sprouted. He sprouted, and we are about to see its fruits. So brothers and sisters, let us continue the fighting. Let us force Museveni to release all political prisoners. Uganda Law Society, unjust law, it is not law at all. Thus, we are impelled to reject it vehemently. We are rejecting unjust laws vehemently, non-negotiable. Museveni, release the 3 girls you arrested. You must release those girls. Mr. Museveni, release all political prisoners. Mr. Museveni, do not deploy your killers into Nsambya Hospital to inject poison in the flesh of His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, I'm confident you cannot touch his spirit, you cannot touch his soul, you cannot touch his mind. That which is ideal defies the brain and skill of him who possesses no key to its invisible potentiality. Whatever you do, you are just doing it on the flesh of His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, but you will never be able to touch him. Mr. Museveni, Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, the one you're trying to assassinate, the one you try to assassinate, he is the key to the well-being of your offspring, because you know you are going. You know you are going. But the stability of your offspring within the midst of Ugandans, it is dependent for the presence of His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu into the political arena. And mind you, we're still demanding our victory. The people of Africa, it is well known to you that we took to the polls on the 14th of January, year 2021, and we elected a leader, and none other than His Excellency Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Mitembo Ngobi Musinguzi Ogenga Lapien. All the names I've just mentioned, they were given to him because, to show how embracive they were towards his political ideology. Mitembo Ngobi Musinguzi Obini Ogenga Lapien Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Omubanda wa Kabaka. That is our esteemed leader. Museveni tried to assassinate yesterday. That is Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. Mr. Museveni, dear brothers and sisters, as you can see the caption of this presentation, it says that honor the dead, know the end of war. Those were the words, those are immortal words of Plato, a renowned mathematician, who said that honor the dead, know the end of war. So brothers and sisters, the war is on. The war is on. The war between darkness and light. The war between light and darkness. The war between good and bad. The war between righteousness and evil. Dear brothers and sisters, let us continue to fight. After all, we live and love and serve until our work is done. Stay blessed, dear brothers and sisters, fellow Ugandans. The march to Parliament is on. Whatever you do, prepare your mind. 9th October, it is the port of unity. It is the converging point as we continue to go to the Parliament. Tomorrow, the usual march to Parliament is on as we continue to prepare our minds, soul, and spirit in unison to march on 9th October to regain what we call independence. The independence of the mind. The independence of the mind. The independence of the mind. Brothers and sisters, stay blessed, fellow Ugandans. Heavenly Father, Lord of Lord, God of God, King of King, your glorious throne endures for generations and generations, Heavenly Father. Lord of Lord, God of God, King of Kings, your glorious throne, it is for generations and generations. Heavenly Father, we are nothing without your presence. Heavenly Father, we submit our entities before your throne through your living Son, Jesus Christ, with whom you reign with the unity, with the Holy Spirit, one God. Why am I emphasizing on Jesus Christ, the living Son? Jesus Christ, according to the ancient documents we read, according to the document, the book of Enoch, who says that Enoch was a man who was hoisted and was taken in heaven with the flesh, earthly flesh, the sensual body. He was hoisted and taken into the highermost dwelling of the Most High. In his testaments, he beheld one ahead of his days. That was Jesus Christ. And he further says that prior to the establishment of the actual rotation and the orbital revolution of the earth, Jesus was there. And he said it himself. So, since faith, it is the projection of reasoning, when we ponder on those words and we observe manifested things and we put them into our mental faculty, that is the process of reasoning, we see that Jesus, he is the interceder of sons and daughters of mankind. Do not belie that. Do not live, do not accept any scholar to make you repudiate the whole scriptures. That is the Bible. Stay blessed, dear brothers and sisters.